Hi again everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. So I'm obviously channeling my inner PewDiePie with my floor cam sitting on the floor of this big empty room in this house. Anyway, I'm doing a follow-up video on Aterian stock, ticker symbol ATER or ATER. So yesterday I did a video saying how I thought the short squeeze was on a bit of a knife's edge because there had been a fall in the volume of trade and the price had been elevating, thinking that we might be seeing a bit of a bull trap of sorts forming. Well, good news for players of the short squeeze is yesterday there was a rocketing return to the volume. It wasn't as strong as it was when the short squeeze first started, which is understandable because the stock price is now elevated, but we saw strong returns in volume yesterday, and what that meant was that the stock managed to rise 65 cents on the day to close off at $5.65 per share, or 13% up. The stock did give back some of the gains in the aftermarket, dropping down to $5.39 per share. Like I said, this was on the back of a strong return in volume, and I think this was also powered by the continued strong chatter that the stock is seeing on Reddit and other social media platforms, making it still the most talked about stock at the moment. In terms of the power behind the short squeeze play, it still ranks #1 on Fintel. However, there has been a slight drop in the borrow fee, and that's probably on the grounds that a number of shorts were probably able to cover in the early part of trade as the stock did start down and kind of went back up and went back down. So there was a bit of a window for some shorts who have been particularly later in entering their positions to actually cover. Now, one of the big things I wanted to talk about in this video is something which I think a lot of people aren't discussing regarding Aterian stock, and that being the 17.5 million shares or equity raise that the company has entered into. Now, I have done a bit more digging into the situation and read the SEC filing, and it's a little bit different of an equity raise. It's not the type where 17.5 million shares are just going to suddenly enter the float. How this equity raise works is that a number of institutional investors have been given rights to purchase shares. So what it is basically institutional and early investors have been given 17.5 million warrants, and they can exercise those warrants between early March this year up until the 6th of September. And they have an exercise price at $3.20. So whenever those warrants get exercised, obviously it's going to bring more money into the books of Aterian stock. These warrants can also be traded however these institutional or early investors see fit. So there's no guarantee that all 17.5 million will be exercised. So what this means in terms of a dilution of the Aterian stock value is that it's not going to happen in one lump sum. It's probably going to happen gradually over time. However, now that the warrants can be exercised, you have to think that if you were holding these warrants and you could convert them to stock for $3.20, right now you could quickly flip that over and sell it for $5.65 per share. So there's an immediate profit built into those warrants. So now that we are seeing a bit of a short squeeze, if it was me holding those warrants personally, I'd be exercising and selling them on the market straight away. So I wouldn't be surprised if we are seeing a bit of a dilution of the share value at the moment because the price is elevated. So keep this in mind. And it's basically the key reason why I'm kind of staying back from Aterian at the moment. Even though there's been a return in volume of trade, there's this 17.5 million warrants could be being exercised right now. We just actually don't know. Anyway, like I said, there still seems to be momentum behind the stock. It's still highly talked about, and still a chance that it's going to be pushed even further. But you have to think that the further this stock gets pushed, the faster it's going to fall down as more and more of these warrants start exercising and other people pushing the short squeeze start to take profit. So not that any of this is investing advice, but you need to be careful and time your exit. Like I said, I'm staying away from it. If you are still following the Aterian short squeeze and playing it, let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear what other people think about the current play. Also, if there's another stock that you'd like me to take a look at, mention a ticker symbol in the comments below and I'll see what I can do. Till next time everyone, may the markets trade in your favor. Cheers.